Hello, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever part of the world you at. Please receive warm greetings from this part of the world. It's a great plumping pleasure to always be online with each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for taking the time to just come to spend about 30 minutes with us today, right? To bring you to gather some good information. I'm here today as usual. I'm going to spend at most 30 minutes with you. I promise. Just give me 30 minutes of your time, and I'm going to give you probably the most important information you've gotten this year, life-changing information, information that has been able to transform the life of many people. I ask you if you're watching us from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from YouTube, from Twitter, please go ahead and share this link. Invite your friends, invite your family, have them join the conversation. I'm going to be sharing 10 myths today, right? I'm going to be debunking the 10 myths that always are getting people afraid and causing people not to get into the IT industry. And I'm going to be debunking those myths. I know there are myths that most likely has gone through your mind at different times, and you've probably asked yourself, "Am I made for this industry? Can I succeed in this industry? Am I going to be able to be effective? Can I get going with a career and make some good money and change your life forever?" Right? So it's a great pleasure to have each and every one of you online. Go ahead, share this link, invite your friends, invite your colleagues, invite your family members. If you're on YouTube, go ahead, like our link on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Through our channel, you're able to get a lot of different pieces of information from time to time, right? Once the content is available, you will be the first person to get that content. You'll be the first person to know that our video has been uploaded and you can watch it and share it. For those who have been watching, who've been sharing, who have been moving our videos, recommending our Facebook page, community page to join. Please, we want to just take a time to thank you very much. All right. I want to take this minute to say a big thank you to each and every one of you. Here at Icon IT, we are grateful. We don't take it for granted. We understand there are a lot of different things that you could spend your time watching, you could spend your time doing, but you chose to follow us. And we want to make it worth your time, right? So we really appreciate you. We thank you for joining us on this live stream today. Just give me a second. Let me try to adjust my camera, make sure I'm in good standing. Wonderful. I like that. It's kind of changed sometimes just watching through, talking, and also seeing myself on the screen, right? Every once in a while, it kind of it's a little bit unusual, but I like it that way. So, wonderful. So, today we are going to be talking on the top 10 myths that gets in the way for a lot of people when they are thinking about joining the IT industry, when they're thinking about the possibility of getting in the industry, working in the industry, and making a life as IT professionals, right? And so we'll be taking that time to talk to you about it. And I want to believe very strongly that for all of you watching, you would certainly be able to relate with some of these myths. You'll be able to identify yourself being held behind by some of these myths. So my goal today is to go past your mind. I want to go past your mind and get straight into your heart because that is where your true desire lies. That is where exactly all the dreams, aspirations, desires for your life resides, right? And anytime you start asking yourself and trying to process it logically, that's when you get caught up in all the inefficiencies of trying to know what you don't know. Remember, in life, you don't know what you don't know until you get to know what you know, right? Like with everybody in the industry, they will tell you their stories. From time to time, I bring different guests online to interview them, to give them a chance to share their story with you so you can see for yourself, you can hear for yourself, you can understand exactly, right? How important just making that decision and being able to go past your mind. I mean, let me tell you for a fact, right? One of the things I do for a living, I speak in front of huge crowds. I'm a professional MC too, and I do a lot of motivational speaking from time to time, both online and in front of people in real life. Sometimes I'm sitting and I'm waiting for to be called up to speak. And to be fair with you, I'm human too, right? Those thoughts start running through my mind. Gustav, you're going to be speaking here in front of some PhD holders. You're going to be speaking in front of some doctors and some people who are qualified, who've been through all kinds of education, Harvard, Stanford, great universities. Do you think you're enough to handle that? You know what I do? I tell that boy, shut up and sit down. You don't know me. Who are you talking to, right? So it's a great plumping pleasure having each and every one of you online today. So let's get going. So the top 10 myths in IT career exposed. The first myth in IT career, which a lot of people struggle with, You need to be a math or a science major. I like this one. A lot of people think to be able to be successful, to be able to get into the IT industry, you need to be a math or a science major. You need to have a degree in computer science or a degree in mathematics or a degree in some science based studies. No, you don't. That's what I'm trying to tell you today. You don't. I'm an example, right? The IT industry, a good number of people working in the IT industry have no background in math or science or computer science. The reason why is very simple, because the industry is made up of a lot of careers. But in addition to that, where you really become effective in the industry is your ability to learn. If you are a quick learner, if you like to learn new things, you will excel, right? Because the industry is based out of solving business problems. So what really happens is that the skill sets you really need, you can learn them. You don't have to have learned them in some university. Of course, it's an advantage if you've gone to a computer program, if you have a degree in computer and all that stuff. That is good. But the industry welcomes a lot of people who don't have none of that background and who can still be successful. Because in the industry, a lot of what you do is troubleshooting, solving problems, and being able to communicate across teams. And all those different skill sets doesn't necessarily take is fantastic in-depth degree study on computers. So if you've ever thought for 1 second that you need a math or a science degree, or you need to be a math or a science major to be able to flourish in the IT industry, that is false. Don't get discouraged by that. The second myth I would like to talk about, right, is that you need to have programming skills to work in IT. I hear this a lot. A lot of people I talk to, a lot of people book their one-on-one appointments to be able to come and talk to us. And by the way, there'll be a link on the chat. There'll be a link on the screen from time to time. Please go ahead and click that link. It's 5 clicks. You fill your names, you fill your phone number, your email. You'll get to a calendar. You book a calendar invite for a one-on-one free non-commitment call, and I will be able to give you a little bit more information, right? But doing a lot of my conversations with people who are interested in joining the industry, one of the things that always comes up, oh, I don't know how to program. Because a lot of us grew up knowing about computers, seeing movies, seeing computer shows, seeing TV programs of some geek sitting in some basement, with some big glasses on the computer all night tapping it. But no, it's not like that, right? You don't need to have programming skills. There are aspects of the computer of the IT industry, there are careers in the IT industry that you need coding skills. And of course, if you can acquire coding skills, it's a plus. But you don't need it to get going in the industry. You don't necessarily have to be good in coding, because it's not all careers in the IT industry that needs coding. Coding is for developing applications and things like that. But there are a lot other careers like Scrum Master, like AWS Solutions Architect, like Oracle Database Administrator, data science, networking, right? Cloud technologies that doesn't necessarily need hardcore coding skills. So if you've ever thought about joining the industry and you're worried about your coding skills, don't worry if you don't know how to code. I'm talking to you here. I have 11 years experience in the industry and I've never coded for once in my life. I don't know how to code. I've never worked around coding. I've worked with people who code. I've worked with teams that need to code, but it's never been my responsibility. I've never learned how to code, and I've been pretty successful in the industry. And this story is not unique only to me. There are a lot of other people too who have the same story and have been successful as such. Wonderful. So if you're thinking of joining the industry, don't hesitate. Don't think because you don't have programming skills, you cannot join. If you're joining us from whatever part of the world, we are grateful that you're hopping on with us. Share this link, please. Invite your friends, invite family members. Share this on your social media platforms right now. Do me that big favor. Go ahead and share the link so more people can join us and watch the video, right? The more we get this information out, the better. I know a lot of people have reached out to us and thank us for the information we share every day free of charge on social media to thousands of people, because that is where the secret lies today. That is the new oil. That is the new industry, the IT industry. Everybody has a place in that industry. Now, the third myth that you need to be debunked to help you get into the industry, the third myth is actually you have to be young to work in the industry. I hear about this too quite often, right? People thinking, oh, you need to be at a certain age, you can no longer work in the industry. You might be too old to get in. No, that is all false. I came into the industry at the age of 30, 34. I'm 45 years old right now. I wasn't a young man. I met kids out of university who were just in their 20s. Some people start early. That is fine. If you're in the middle of your career and you're thinking about pivoting into the industry, that is still fine. And the reason why is very simple, right? Again, as I said earlier, in the IT industry, a lot of the skills you're going to acquire while in the industry. You just need some basic skills to be able to get into the industry. But in the industry, you're going to acquire more skills because you're going to work in different domains. You're going to collaborate with different teams. You're going to be assigned on projects that necessitates the collaboration between networking and all these different teams, and that will give you the experience you need. So you don't necessarily have to be young. You don't have to be in your 20s. If you're sitting and watching at me right now and you're in your 30s or 40s, it's not too late. You can pivot into the industry, you can make a good life, and you can create impact. The fourth myth that I would like to debunk today, right? You need to know a lot about computers to work in IT. No, you don't have to know a lot about computers. I will trust me on this one. We have a lot of people who've been able to coach through our system, train them in different IT programs like Scrum Master, like AWS Solution Architect, like AWS DevOps, like Oracle Database Administrator, Cloud Technologies, who came to us only knowing how to check their emails. I want that to sink in a little bit, right? So you don't need to have a lot of computers experience. You don't need to know a lot about computers to work in IT. You just need to choose a training for a specific program. You follow that training, you learn that program, you get into the industry. In the course of learning the program, your computer skills are going to improve. A lot of people today know how to use computers just to check their emails or maybe to write letters or to write Word, to use the Word program or Excel. Yes, in IT, your skills on the computer is going to improve. So if you're sitting and listening to me and you're thinking because I don't have computer skills, I cannot get into IT, I'm here to tell you it's a big fat lie. Don't believe. You have the skill. As long as you're hungry and you're willing, you can learn the IT skills and you can get in the industry. The next myth I want to debunk: IT workers are isolated in some dark basement. IT workers are isolated in some dark basement. That is false. No, that is not true. IT workers are not isolated in some dark basement. I understand why people might think that way because a lot of the movies we watch, some programs we watch, we always see people sitting in some basement. Even some of the stories of the great entrepreneurs we know, right? We hear people like Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, and all these great people from Microsoft and Oracle. We just started their companies in their garages or in basements. But no, as an IT professional, you are not going to be sitting in some basement working in the dark room. No, you're not, right? In IT offices today, they are lighted, huge story buildings, with beautiful designs and cafes and gyms and the movie theaters and chapels all put in your office, right? IT companies today build beautiful offices for staff to work. For those who will be lucky enough to work from home, which is a big number today because a lot of companies let their staff work remotely, like myself. I work remotely for the last 2 years. I don't have to go to no office. I work in the comfort of my home, in my home office, right? So you are not going to be stuck in some dark, isolated basement and trying to and trying to code some new things or create some new magical solutions that is going to take away the world's problems. No, that's not how it works, right? So if you've been thinking that is an impediment, if you've been thinking that you might need to go through that, that's what is stopping you from joining the industry, please don't hesitate. That is not an impediment. Next myth we'll be talking about is automation will eliminate IT jobs. I like this one specifically. And the reason I like this one, is because, of course, we all see the evolution in the world today. If you watch the news, you've been following up anything about global economies and evolution of technology today, you see a lot of drive towards automation, or we're going to be having self-driving cars. We see supermarkets today where you don't need to have a cashier. You just drive in with your car, you pick up a card, you walk around, you pick the things you need, you check out, you leave by yourself, right? You go to fast food places, robots will be serving fast food. You go to gas stations, you pump your gas by yourself and things like that, right? Yes, it is true. There are some repetitive tasks in IT that will be automated. There is no lie about that, okay? There are some repetitive tasks in IT that will be automated, which AI can be able, artificial intelligence can be able to automate and replicate because it's the same thing you're doing over and over and over and over. So they can assign that to a robot to do. But a big portion of IT solutions cannot be automated. And I'll tell you why. Because IT is designed to solve business problems. And no two business problems are the same. The business problems a company like Walmart faces, it's not the same business problem a company like Total gas station faces, right? Petroleum company. The challenge is that a pharmaceutical company like Bayer, like GlaxoSmithKline faces. It's not the same challenge that a retail company like Target faces. So, as an IT staff, as an IT team, your job is to find creative ways to resolve those business problems. And so, it's not possible to automate them because there are times, a lot of times, you need human thinking. A lot of times, you need human reflection. You need trying out things. It fails, you try out the next one, it works. Because of that, there is no way that IT solutions or IT careers are going to disappear because they are going to be automated. Don't be afraid. Automation is not going to take away your jobs. Automation will take some jobs away, a lot of mundane jobs. Automation will take jobs, as I've mentioned, low skill jobs. Maybe yeah, if you're flipping hamburgers in a restaurant, they might have a robot that is spinning the hamburger on the gas grill, putting it in the bread and serving it, right? But it's never going to take away IT jobs because IT jobs involves human thinking. IT job involves reflection. It involves creative solutioning. Sometimes you create solutions that are not standard just out of your thinking. And so a robot is not going to think like that because a robot is programmed. So a robot will only be as good as the human mind programs it, and your mind keeps evolving. So don't be afraid. If one of the myths you've been hearing about and you've been worried about that has been causing you to hesitate joining the industry is that jobs are going to be automated and you're going to lose your IT job, that is a lie. Don't listen to that. The next myth, that as IT professionals, you work long hours and you don't have work-life balance. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. A big part of your work in the IT industry is based on value, it's not based on time. And value increases over time as you build experience. I'll give you a simple example. When I started my career as an Oracle database administrator, there were tasks that used to take me 2 hours to do just because I was still starting in the industry. I wasn't very experienced, so it would take me time to troubleshoot, to get the solution, to try to implement it, right? But for more experienced staff, like my leads, like senior staff that I worked under, for them, it took them 5 minutes to solve that particular problem, right? So it takes me 2 hours, it takes somebody else with experience 5 minutes, right? And nobody is coming to find out if you've worked your 8 hours. You don't have to go put in somewhere what you did every hour. No, the IT industry doesn't work like that. It's about value and it's mostly task based. You get given a task and you deliver on that task. There's an estimate. A task could be estimated to take 5 hours. If you experience enough, you deliver the task in 1 hour, you save yourself 4 hours. The second thing is very important in terms of your hours and your lifestyle is that the IT industry is very flexible too. Most people today work from the comfort of their home. What that means is sometimes people work in their pajamas. I'm telling you, I'm being honest here, right? You can take time off, go see a kid play football in school and come back to your work, right? For example, if you see anybody working in the IT industry, they will tell you they hardly ever miss their kids' activities, right? They can just say, hey, team, you send a little chat, team, I'm going to be off for 1 hour. I need to go to my kids' school for a meeting. And you go come back and you continue your work, right? So there's a lot of flexibility. There's also very, very great aspects to your lifestyle. Another thing is that for a lot of people, for example, who work in the IT industry, they love to travel because you make a lot of good money. And when you make good money, you want to travel, you want to go see the world, right? All they need is they travel with their laptops and they need internet. I'm talking to you today not from my home. I'm on travels. All I needed was just my laptop and my internet. I was able to connect and I'm talking to the world today. That's how it works in the IT industry. You don't need to be located in a specific place. All your company needs is for you to be able to deliver value, right? Of course, there are There are some specific companies with security rules or rules of engagement that you must be in a specific location, but that is far and in between. A cross section of companies today, they work with remote workers from all over the world, from India, from Thailand, from Cameroon, from Ghana, from Singapore, from Vietnam, everywhere, Philippines, right, Mexico. So what I'm trying to say here is, if for a minute you've thought that in the IT industry the hours are too long, or there's no good work-life balance, and you're not going to get into the industry, that is one of the myths. Forget about it. It's a lie. It's not true. You're going to have a great work-life balance. You're going to make money. You're going to work efficiently, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to work too many long hours. You just have to be efficient, and you have a great life. You have a great work-life balance, and you'll be able to deliver on your promises to the company. Again, thank you for joining. If you're just joining us, please go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube page, so you can click on the jingle to make sure you subscribe, so you can be the first to be notified when we have content. Please share this link on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to come watch. Go ahead to share the video so people can watch and get educated and learn. As it's always said, people perish for lack of information. There are a lot of people who've helped just because they watched this video and they shared with their friends and family. They watched and their lives changed forever. A lot of times I have all these testimonies from people who are calling us and saying, Gustav, you guys changed my life. I heard from you the first time about a program called Scrum Master. Within 2 months, I was able to get a job, and I'm making $125,000. I heard from you about a program called AWS, and today I'm making $130,000. My kids are happy, my wife is happy, my family is happy. I can travel the world, I take care of my parents, right? So don't hesitate, go ahead and share that information. Also, if you need more information, because this is just going to be a 35 minute session, I cannot do everything on this session. Go ahead and click on the link on the screen. Give us your name, your phone number, your email. You will see a calendar. Click on that calendar, choose a date and a time, and book an appointment. You'll get a free 15 minutes at least. It can be more than 15 minutes depending on what you need. But it's a free call, no commitment. You don't have to commit to anything. Just book an appointment, and we'll talk to you and we'll explain to you more what the different programs are. And if you're interested, you can join, right? So let's go to the seat myth. The seat myth, it is only for very smart people. And I can understand, because like you, we all watched a lot of different shows about IT and computer people, right? Some of them are called computer geeks. You're seeing them with the big glasses, right? Sitting in front of computers, moving their fingers like at the speed of light, and they're sitting there focused. They don't listen to nothing. Nothing is distracting them. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the house to be part of the IT industry. In fact, the IT industry is made up of very average people who just refuse to give up on their dreams. The IT industry is made up of, in terms of IQ, in terms of academic qualifications, maybe even below average people who just want to learn, and they're hungry and they're willing to learn new things, and they come in and learn. I take myself for an example. I was never a top guy in school. Every school I've been to, I was always somewhere in the middle or a little bit below the middle, right? When if 45 people are passing, and 45 people have to make the grade, number 40 somewhere there, you hear my name, Gustav Achu, and I'll cross the line. But the one thing that really, really I learned across my life and succeeding in the IT industry so far for 11 years is that it doesn't take too much smarts. It just takes a willingness to want to learn something new. Number one. And number two, it takes a desire to be flexible and to be teachable. That's it. And you'll be very successful. So if you're sitting and thinking you're not the smartest guy in class, you were never the top of your class, you cannot belong to the IT industry, that is false. You have a place in the industry, all right? Now, the 7 myths we're talking about, I promise to give you 10 myths today, right? No job security. When I talk of no job security, I remember about 22 years ago, in the early 2000s, or the year 2000, right? There was a major dot-com crash. If you're familiar with that, you probably heard about it, right? What really happened is that there was a crash in the IT industry. And of course, that created a lot of panic. It created a lot of fear. And it's created some phobia in generations after that. But let me tell you, that was the advent of IT as we know it today. That was the advent of the internet. That's when the internet was still in its infant stages, right? Computers were finally turning the corner and coming now into the mainstream, from only companies into people using personal laptops and using PCs on their on their office desk in their houses, right? So there was a crash in the industry at that time, and since then it's left a bitter taste in the mouth of many people. And people don't realize that between then and today, the IT industry has grown over. I don't have statistics for this, but just from my own understanding and reading through different things, it's grown at least 200%. The demand is so high. I'll give you an example. If you go now on Google, right now, as I'm speaking to you, just type in Google jobs for AWS Solutions Architects and see how many thousands of jobs are available just for that one career path. And there are over 30 different career paths in IT, right? So if you've been thinking that there's no job security in IT, don't deceive yourself. Most of the people I work with at the top level of their career have been in IT 25 years today, 30 years, and they plan to retire in the next 10 years, making them 40 years in the industry. And during that time, they've made over 3, 4, 5 million dollars. So job security is there. The second reason why is because the demand of the human economy today necessitates that. We are talking here about automated cars. We are talking here about cell phones. We are talking about home equipment. We are talking about entertainment systems. We are even talking about the ability for me to sit here thousands of miles away from you, wherever you are, and talking to you. And it's been diffused on 8 different platforms at the same time. We have an army of IT people in the back end making all of this possible. It's never going to stop. The world is never going back to those dark ages. The world is never going back to a place where becoming a computer savvy person working in the IT industry was something reserved only for people who were too smart or people who knew how to code or things like that. No, there's none of that. We're not going back there anymore. The reason we're not going back there, and the reason why I'm sure, is that if I can have a place in the industry, starting from a guy who only knew how to check emails on his computer, I believe that you sitting out there listening to me, you're smarter than me. I know that. Because if you weren't smart, you won't be listening to me today. You know that you want something more out of your life. That's why you're listening, right? So the idea of no job security is a myth. Don't listen to that myth. It's not existent. It's not possible. It's not going to be. Of course, like with every industry, every once in a while, there might be a little bit of an economic recession. People might lose their jobs a little bit, but it won't have a major impact. I can tell you for a fact. I was listening to the news today. The IT industry is one of the rare recession-proof industries. In fact, when there is recession, that's when hiring for IT instead increases. And I tell you why? Because when there's a recession, that's when the services of IT are even more in demand. Think about it for a second. During the COVID-19 period, when the world was sitting home, there was even more demand for IT staff. You know why? Because there were specialized services that needed to help people while at their house. You needed Zoom to connect online. You needed, Facebook to be. That's when Facebook and all the social media platform increase their number of subscribers. So you need IT people to be able to come and help with that. So if you're sitting out there and you're thinking IT industry, the job security is a little sketchy, you might get thrown out of the industry. No, please don't listen to that. Just come in, have a good life, learn a course, and you'll be able to get ahead, right? And that was the ninth myth. The 10th myth: the IT field is a man's world. I like this one because every once in a while I get conversations with people, and especially ladies, right? And they tell me, Mr. Achu, I've been hearing of the IT industry, but I just feel like only men can do that work. No, it's not true. I understand. We all have to. I have to tell you something, right? The world has evolved. True. 30, 40, 50 years ago, in many communities, in many societies, there were traditional roles for men and traditional roles for women, right? A lot of women are homemakers. They have to be home. They could do secretarial work and things like that. But we're talking about a time today where about 40%, about 35% of all the staff in the top technology companies in the world, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Oracle, 35% of the staff in all those companies are women. I want that to sink in very well in your minds if you're ever doubting yourself. If you're a lady out there listening to me doubting yourself, stop it. You have a place in the industry. In fact, I will say there's even a silent bias for women in the industry. A lot of companies get compensated for recruiting more minorities and more women in their companies. So if you're a woman listening to me, this is your time. It's an advantage for you. Even during interview process, I'll be transparent here with you, right? Even during interview processes, it's natural. I sat on interview panels, you know. No, a lot of times, yes, the interview panel is made up of men just because of the numbers of people in the industry, right? But the considerations that are given sometimes just by the very nature that the interviewer is a man and the interviewee is a woman. I'm not suggesting that they consider them any differently, but I'm just saying that as a woman you have a lot of demand in the IT industry. Companies want you, companies need you. Women are very solution oriented. Women are multitaskers. Women are brought up a lot in different communities to do multiple things at the same time. And those are skills that the IT industry needs, because in the industry you will not have one project you're working on. They'll give you two, three projects. So you have to be able to balance all those balls and deliver on them. And for a lot of men, sometimes they struggle because men are not wired to be multitaskers. Women are wired to be multitaskers. Women can be cooking at the same time they're making sure the kid is not falling off the bed. At the same time, they are making calls to get grocery. At the same time, they are cleaning the house. Right? So those things that are innate is an advantage, right? So don't if you ever thought if you've ever thought for a second that the IT field is a man's world, no, it's not true. As I said, 35% of IT staff are women in the top IT companies in the world. I don't want to talk about the smaller companies, the consulting companies, the mid to small size companies. They're there, right? So just to recalibrate again, let's go through the whole 10 myths again and just walk through them for myth one. So, myth one, right? You need to be a math and science guru. No, you don't have to be a math or science major. You don't have to come from STEM. I just want to go through the different 10 myths. Okay. So, Zainab, can you start from the start? So, myth one, right? You don't need to be a science major. You don't need to be a technology major. You don't need to have a degree in computers to get into the industry. About 60% of people who work in the IT industry have no prior relationship with computers. They don't have no degrees in computers, including somebody like myself. I studied law. I came to America 20 years ago and I became a nurse. Right? I've sold used cars for a living. I've done multi-level marketing, right? I've flipped houses for a living. And today I'm in the IT industry. I have no connection with computers. I didn't go to school to learn about coding. I didn't learn math and become some science or technology major. So if you're thinking about that, it shouldn't be an impediment. The second myth that you should certainly just to go through, you don't need to have to have programming skills to work in IT. All right. If you don't have programming skills, don't worry, you have a place. The third myth, you have to be young. No, you don't have to be young to work in IT, right? You can be at any point in your career, whether it's mid career, beginning career, end of your career. You can be in the year 20s. If you get in early in your 20s, you're lucky, fine. Some of us got in at 35 and we're thriving in the industry. You can do the same today. You can do different things and you're tired of what you're doing right now and you want to pivot into IT, you can go ahead and pivot, right? um Automation is going to eliminate IT jobs. No, automation is not going to eliminate IT jobs. That's another myth, right? Long working hours. There's certainly some working hours involved, of course, when you have some critical programs, projects you have to deliver. But by and large, you don't spend your whole life in the industry working long hours and not having work-life balance. On the contrary, you have great work-life balance, right? It is only for very it's only for very smart people. No, it's not true. You don't have to be the smartest guy on the block to be part of it, right? You can be um, an average student in class. You can be an average person in intelligence, and you will still be successful, right? No job security in the IT industry. A lot of job security, as I explained earlier, it's going nowhere. The industry has come to stay. The demand is only high. That's why today it's not unusual for people to have multiple jobs and making upwards of $300,000 a year, because the demand is just there and people need to do the job, but there are not enough people who are trained, who are skilled enough to do it, right? And it's the IT field a man's world? No, it's not a man's world. As I said again earlier, 35% of IT staff in all the top IT companies are women, and the numbers are only growing. It's projected that by 2029, the numbers will be somewhere about 40%. So I'm very glad you joined us today. I hope you've learned something about the 10 myths of the IT industry. If any of those myths apply to you, this is my advice to you. Don't hesitate. Don't even think about it. If you're hearing this for the first time, you require a little bit more information, you're interested in learning more, go ahead and click on the link on the screen, book a one-on-one appointment, right? And that is free. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to commit to anything. You don't have to commit to enroll in any of our programs. We will give you free advice. We'll give you free coaching. We'll explain to you how the industry works. We'll explain to you what it takes, and we'll be able to align your desires and your skill set so far with what could be a best fitting program for you. Remember, all the skills you've acquired to this point in your life are relevant in the IT industry, because the people who thrive in the IT industry are people who are creative, people who think solutions, and people who also find a way to make a connection between business challenges and computer solutions, right? So if you're one of those kind of people, don't hesitate. The industry is for you. Go ahead, click on the link. You have to do 5 clicks, as short as that. Simple 5 clicks. The first one is your first name, your last name. You give us your phone number, you give us your email, and then the 5th click, you click on the calendar, and you go to that calendar, you book a date, you book a time, and you're secured for your one-on-one appointment. And we're going to call you and give you more information about the industry. For right now, if you're joining us on Facebook, subscribe to our different Facebook communities. Please go ahead and subscribe to our community. Share this video. Share our ads when you see them about our live shows coming up. We do this every Wednesdays and every Fridays from 7 p.m. to about 7:30, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6 p.m. to 6:45 Central Time, right? Go ahead and share our link. If you're watching us from YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our YouTube page, share this information with your friends and family, invite more people to come and learn about all these different things that are happening. Stay tuned with us. We'll be back on Wednesday with more important information. If you subscribe to our channels, you'll get all these updates, right? And you'll be able to know exactly where the industry is going and how you can plug in. But the one thing I can tell you is that the best time to have joined the IT industry was 10 years ago. The next best time to join the industry is now, because 10 years from now, you'll be sitting and thinking about $2 to $3 million in earnings that you've missed over the last 10 years. So don't hesitate. All the programs we offer: Oracle Database Administrator, or Scrum Master, AWS Solutions Architect, AWS DevOps Architect, right? Cloud Solutions Engineering. All these programs we offer are very short programs, a few months. Some of them are 6 weeks, some of them are 8 weeks, some of them are 12 weeks, right? 2.5 months, 3 months, 1.5 months. This is a short program where you see the return on investment really quick. And all of these programs, you don't have to take tuition loan to pay for them, like some traditional degree programs are. These are short certificate programs. We also help guide you towards certifications for the different relevant programs. So that way, when you're getting on the market to look for a job, you are qualified, you are ready, and you are able to deliver on that. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We appreciate your time. If it's night for you, have a great rest of your night and your weekend. If it's daytime for you, I hope you have a productive day, whatever part of the world. We love coming to you with all this information. Stay tuned, join our channels, book an appointment for a one-on-one conversation with us. It's free, non-commitment. You don't have to pay anything. Go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and we appreciate your time. Thank you. Have a good night. And if there's one thing I want to leave with you before you go, I don't know whoever spoke to your mind. I don't know what circumstances you were raised in to make you believe that you may not be capable. I don't know whoever spoke you into thinking you are not enough, but I want to reassure you today that you are enough. Go out there, be well, be blessed, and never stop being a blessing to other people. We'll see you at the top. Bye for now.